This is a North Carolina NAACP voter turnout rally. Here, the election is about more than choosing a candidate or party. It's the climax of a 3-year fight against some of the most restrictive voting laws in the country.
Y'all sound good. The whole line of discrimination down through history has turned on the issue of who is a person and who deserves citizenship. We are citizens. We are persons. We are made in the image of God, and we will vote.
North Carolina could swing the election this year, and I want to know what's important to voters in my home state. I'm bringing along my little brother to find out because, like a lot of teenagers, Richard doesn't really see how politics affects him.
Like, I have a year till I can vote, but if I could have, I don't know. I don't know if I would have went to vote, because I figured my one vote's not really going to do nothing.
With this trip, I'm hoping to show him just why voting is so important to people in the state. Our first stop is a town named for Zebulon B. Vance, the Confederate governor of North Carolina during the Civil War.
The election right now, it makes me scared. It makes me scared because what I have this country, I don't have it in my country.
What country are you from?
I'm from Gambia.
Gambia?
Yeah, I'm from West Africa. I'm from Gambia.
Because of the new restrictive voting law, Bimta had trouble voting in the primary election just a few months ago.
It makes me like I can't vote because I went to Zebulon here. They said it's not here. So I was confused and mad. I don't vote and I have to vote. This election is not like white or black. This election is for America, our future.
Just being in a hair shop talking about politics. Yeah.
Yeah, that was something new.
In a beauty shop. I mean, you don't talk about politics in a barber shop?
I don't talk about politics.
Of course, we had to stop by my hometown. You know, we were just in Zebulon when we talked to people from Gambia, and they were afraid of Trump and his policies on immigration.
If she wants to be an American, just like us standing here, she would want the very same thing that we want. She would want secure borders. Look at what's going on in the country today. Suicide bombers.
I also feel like our country has regressed. I grew up in the country, and some of my best friends were black. You know, then they were my playmates, love them to this day, and I don't see that now. It's just a lot of concerns I have, and I would like to see morality brought back, that people cared for each other, the love.
Underneath all that anxiety is a fight over the most fundamental right of all, the right to vote. Just a few decades ago, the specter of Jim Crow hung over voting in North Carolina. Literacy tests were in place until the 1970s. Hope for black voters came with the Voting Rights Act of 1965 because the state could no longer restrict access to the polls without federal approval. But all that changed in 2013 when the Supreme Court gutted the Voting Rights Act. Soon after, North Carolina's Republican legislature passed a law that seemed to target voters of color. Voters had to show a state-issued ID. Teenagers could no longer register to vote in advance. It eliminated early voting on the day many black people vote with their church, and it limited where you can vote. Altogether, it made it harder for hundreds of thousands of people to access the polls. Reverend Barber and the North Carolina NAACP held dozens of Moral Monday protests over what they describe as a return to Jim Crow. Then, just months before the election, a federal court threw all these rules out because they're designed to, quote, target African Americans with almost surgical precision. So North Carolina's voting restrictions were struck down, but more than a dozen other states have put up new barriers to voting that are in effect for the 2016 election. wanted to come out here because some of the earliest political discourses I had outside of the barbershop, outside of my family, were talking with people fishing.
What did you learn today?
What I saw today was people are voting not based on what we think about voting on interest, voting on what you believe in. What people are voting on is they're voting on fear.
Yeah.
And that's why I wanted to go on a trip with you, because I was afraid about you. Richard is coming of age in North Carolina where fear and anxiety are everywhere. The question is, will that motivate a new generation of voters or discourage them? The voting restrictions are gone, but maybe the damage has already been done. Or maybe not.
Maybe you thought messing with our vote would divide us. But boy, did you get it wrong. You have united us. You have brought us together in ways that maybe we otherwise wouldn't be together. And we're going to send a shock throughout this nation that says when you mess with the right to vote, you wake up a giant.